Hi, welcome to Diamond Custom Paint Shop. In this video, I'm going to be doing candy over Metal Flake, and it's going to be red candy over Metal Flake. So I'm going to go through the process of mixing up the Metal Flake, showing you how to do that, and then spraying that on, and then we'll go into spraying the red candy on top of it and show you what that looks like. So we're going to be doing it on this hood. That in my last video we did high build primer on it. So if you didn't catch that video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and go check that video out. And there's also one that I did before that on this hood, which is the epoxy primer. So we're going to be doing it on this hood. And then the products that we're going to be using is from Limeline. And in this one, I'm going to be using the High Solids clear 2K clear coat to mix in with the Metal Flake here. So you have your part A and your part B here. It mixes 2 to 1. So like I always say, always check your cans. Make sure you're mixing your mixing ratios right. So yeah, High Solids I'll use with the Metal Flake, help it flow out a little better, I think. So you'll get to check that out. And then also we're going to be using first thing we have to do before we on that gray primer is we have to spray some black base coat down first before we do the Metal Flake. So we'll do that, and we're going to mix. This is Limeline's black base coat, and you mix that 1 to 1 with urethane reducer, which I'll do with the Limeline urethane reducer, and then we'll be moving on to the red candy, which is here. You can get this in a 4-ounce can or this 16-ounce can. And then you mix this with base coat clear, and then and the percentages and all that are on the can here, on the back of the can. That tells you how to mix it. It's 70% base coat clear to 30% of the candy, and then you'll take that mixture and you'll do 50-50 with urethane reducer, because basically this will just give you like a base coat mixture. So then to spray it, you'll mix that with urethane reducer 50-50. And so yeah, so we'll get that going. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is we'll cut away, and I'll just show a real quick video of me spraying the black on. And then after that, we'll cut back and we'll do another video of actually showing me mix this up into the disposable paint cup system, kind of show you the ratios. I'm going to mix I'm not going to mix this whole bag up, so I'll show you how to, if you're going to mix half of the mixture, kind of how to figure that out. Pretty easy. You just take half and half, but that's what we're going to do. We're not going to mix the whole thing up because then I'll have too much left over. So I'm just spraying that hood with it on both sides. So yeah, so I'll be right back. We'll see me spraying the black base coat on. Okay, well, there we go. There's the black base coat. Now we're ready to apply the Metal Flake. First, we'll go over kind of the process of spraying this Metal Flake, and then I'll show you how I mix it here in the cup. One thing in the process, we're mixing this with 2K clear. So we'll do probably 3 coats until we get the right, saturation we like with the Metal Flake. And then immediately then we'll do our flash times in between, which I usually do between 10 and 15 minutes. It's a little colder today. I'll probably wait 15 minutes. So we'll do the 15 minutes. When we're done applying the Metal Flake, we'll wait our last coat of Metal Flake. We'll do our flash time. Then we'll go right into another 3 coats of just the 2K clear to kind of bury that Metal Flake in there. So that's the process of it. Another thing, I got to go grab it. I didn't grab it for some reason, is the cap or the lid to the disposable paint cut system. Here we go. They come with this filter in it here. We need to cut that filter out. Got my knife right here. So yeah, you need to cut that filter out. Otherwise, your Metal Flake won't pass through that filter. So I just slice it with a knife and get my fingers in there, and you can rip it out. So yeah, you want to make sure you take that filter out only when you're spraying the Metal Flake. When we get back to after we spray the Metal Flake and we go to the 2K clear, you'll use a different lid, obviously, and then you'll keep that filter in there. So, all right, well, let's look at the package here, the directions. So it says on the directions to mix a full packet with 16 ounces of clear coat. And then it says on here, spray 3 coats of flake mixture over the black base coat, and then spray an additional 3 coats straight clear coat like I just talked about. Then once that's dry, we'll sand it smooth with 600 grit, and then you can start doing your graphics. Sometimes you kind of see how it is. If it's still too rough, you can do another session of clear coat, and then you definitely should be good there. But we'll just see how it goes. So, okay, so I'm just doing that hood, so I don't need 16 ounces of Metal Flake. I'm just going to cut it in half and do 8 ounces. So I'll basically do 8 ounces, and then I'll just use half this bag of Metal Flake in my mixture. And kind of how I do that on my disposable cup. So I'll go to the 8-ounce mark here, and then since this is 2-to-1 mixture, I'll go over to where my 2-to-1 over here. I put this tape on here to kind of draw a straight line from 8 ounces over to see how far I need to fill up. And so I go to the one that's closest to it. That's going to be on my second line. I'm going to go to it looks like it's going to be the 3. That'll be closest to 8 ounces of total mixture when you're done adding both parts. So it looks like I'll go to the number 3 on there. So that's how I kind of figure out if I'm not doing the full ratio. And you kind of would do the same thing as if you're going to mix the whole thing. You'd go on your cup, 16 ounces is up here. So then you would go over on your cup to the 2-to-1, and see where that lands up. You'd be more like on the 5 or the 4 number. So yeah, 4 is up there, 5. Yeah, you'd probably be now at the 5 for the total on the second line. So yeah, that's how you do that. So, all right, well, let's get into mixing this stuff. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our part A. This is the high solids. So it's a different mixing ratio than the other one, the urethane acrylic one I use, which is a 4-to-1. So let me just go to my 2-to-1. I'm mixing it up to the 3, so I'll go to the first 3 with part A. There we go. Now I'll take my part B with the Glamour clear coat. We'll go to the second tree, which is right there. Okay. Put your lids back on so you don't accidentally have a mess. Okay, then I'm going to open my bag of Metal Flake. I'm going to pour in about half this bag. That's probably about it right there. It's not an exact science, so don't get too worried about that. And yeah, you give it a good mix here. And what I like to do is once I mix it around a little bit, I'll pull my stick out, and then whatever flows on the stick, that's kind of what you're looking at, what your saturation is going to look like. So that's good. Covers the stick pretty good. Just mix this around for a good 20-30 seconds. Okay. That should do it. We'll put our lid on with no filter, remember. Okay, well, there you go. We have the hood Metal Flaked. Came out pretty good. Came out about as saturated as you're going to get it. So I did the 3 coats of Metal Flake, and then right after that, we did 3 coats of clear coat with the High Solids Glamour Clear Coat by Limeline. If I was to be doing graphics on this right after this step here, I would probably scuff it down and do another session of clear coat just to bury that Metal Flake a little more. You can kind of still feel the texture. I'm going to scuff it down anyways to do the red candy, which will be even a little bit smoother. But like I said, if I was going to do graphics on it, I want it to be as smooth as possible. So I would do another session to totally bury that Metal Flake there. So yeah, so there's the hood all Metal Flaked and ready to go. Like I said, we're going to scuff this down before we do the candy, but let's talk about the candy. We're going to be using Limeline's candy concentrate, and this is a 16-ounce can. You can get it in a 4-ounce can. I use candy a lot, so I go ahead and get the 16-ounce can. It's a lot cheaper that way if you use a lot of candy. It's a better deal to get the bigger can. So yeah, if you're interested in getting Limeline's products, any of the stuff I use, go ahead and check out the link in my description and click on that link and you'll get 10% off of all Limeline products. So a pretty good deal. So, and plus their products are already really affordable anyways, so you get a really good deal then. So, okay, enough of that. Let's get into mixing this. So we're gonna mix this with base coat clear. You don't want to use 2K clear. You want to use base coat clear, and that's pretty much going to make it into a red candy base coat is what it makes it into. And then after we mix these two together, then you're going to mix it with urethane reducer here to the proper ratio so you can spray it out of a spray gun. And we'll explain all the ratios and everything here in a second. So if you look, when you get these cans, even the base coat clear, it has all the ratios on it on the back there. And it'll tell you, so even if it tells you how to mix, so Limeline sells this in red, yellow, which is gold, and blue. So with those three primary colors, you can mix pretty much any other color you need. And on the back here, it kind of tells you your a couple of secondary colors like orange, green, and purple, and then brown candy, which is pretty awesome. So it tells you exactly the ratios to mix those on the back of this can here. So he makes it pretty easy for you to get those colors. And then from there, once you get those colors, you can start kind of mixing a little more this and that to get the color that you need. What I did is I went ahead and bought me just a cheap color wheel, and then you can kind of, see what you need to add to get a certain color. So, but for our case, we're just going to do the red candy. And so the ratio is 70 to 30%. So 70% of clear base coat to 30% of the red candy. And then once you get your base coat, you mix the base coat 1-to-1 with urethane reducer to get it to mix and spray through the spray gun. The spray gun I'm going to be using to spray it on this panel is Limeline's Pro. The gun I always use, the 1.4 tip. Things to note, I'm still going to use everything wide open like I always do. But what you're going to see me do now when I spray candy is I'll pull back from the panel a little bit because you want to avoid tiger stripes. So you pull back from the panel a little bit, kind of move a little faster. And then usually first coat I'll go, left to right. And then like the second coat, I'll go top to bottom, kind of to crisscross there. So you kind of avoid tiger stripes. So if you kind of move fast and far away and do that, you won't have any problems with having any blotchy spots or anything like that. So yeah, that's the technique I'm going to use. So you'll get to see how that goes. So I have this cup here. In a second, I'm going to zoom in on this cup while we're mixing this. But I kind of made it, put this tape on here with some markings, kind of make it foolproof on how to mix this. So I'm going to mix, my total mixture is going to be 200 milliliters. And so here's another nice thing about this candy. Once you mix it, even when you put the reducer ready to spray, you can keep it forever. I mean, it's just like a base coat in a can. So whatever you don't use, you can put in another container and put a lid on it, and you can save it for quite a while. So I'm going to go 200 total. So my first number one here, the first line is going to be the base coat. So this is a mark, that mark is 75%, right, out of 100. So I'm just going to go a little bit below it. Again, these aren't exact sciences. You could actually add a little more red or a little bit less red. It's just going to make it lighter or darker kind of tint to it because it's just going to get mixed in with the base coat. So a little bit under that, 70% of the clear base coat. Then number two, we're going to go and fill the rest of the way up to the 100. That'll give us our 30% of the red candy. Then after that, we're going to double it up to 200 with our reducer, and that's our sprayable form right there. So, all right, well, let me set this here. I'll zoom in, and then we'll start mixing this up. Okay, I think I know the answer. For $1,000. Okay, here we go. That should be good. Okay, so first thing, like we show here, we're going to add the base coat clear up to that mark right there. Let's open our base coat clear. And I always shake my cans a couple of seconds. Just get things moving around. No, this is a brand new can too. I should have grabbed my one I already used, but all gets used the same. Since it's a brand new can, I'm going to make me a little tape funnel here. Or spout. Not really a funnel, it's a spout. Kind of help things from getting too messy. Okay. Here we go. Clear the base coat. And touch more. Might be hard to see in the camera because it's kind of the same color as that plastic on the can there. So there's our clear base coat. Let me see in the camera if you can see that. Yeah, I see it. It's right there, right? You can barely see it in the camera. Let me yeah, you still really can't see it. Well, it's there. It's the same color as the plastic, but okay. Now let's go ahead and pour our red in. Oh. Let me give it a little shake. In case there's any pigments in there that need to be stirred around, I'm not sure, but this is another brand new can. So we'll do another little funnel here. Spout, sorry. Okay, then we're gonna go up to the 100 there, number 2, red candy. So here we go. Now you won't be able to see probably see the red because it's going to fill up the volume. The red's going to pretty much staying in the middle, but I wish you could see in the camera a little better. The right there, we're up to 100 right there. Like I said, it won't hurt to do a little more, a little tiny less, whatever. It's not. This part isn't exact science because you're just tinting the clear base coat. Okay, but we're up to 100 there. Yeah, we're right there. You might be able to barely see it on the camera. Okay, but now we're going to go up to number 3. The third step is adding our reducer, which is a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're at 100. So we're going to fill it up to 200. 1 part base coat, 1 part urethane reducer. Get this other can here. Finish off. I have another can that needs to be, it's almost gone. Finish this can off. Ooh, there might be enough in there. No, almost. Okay, there we are at 200. Put our cap back on. Let me go grab a stir stick real quick. I always forget the stir stick for some reason when I'm setting up for these videos. Need to put a little note on my wall. Don't forget the stir stick. Yeah, then we'll just mix it up. 20 seconds or so, 20, 30 seconds. Make sure everything's mixed in good. And like I said, this isn't a two-part system, so this is good. You put a cap on this. It's actually, it'll be a minute before I spray this, so I have, when you get these disposable paint cup systems, let me see here. You'll get these lids, and they'll come with these little caps you can put on, and they just go like that. So once you have it in this cup, you put that on the cup, and you can save it. It's not going to harden up or dry up on you. So all we did, we used clear base coat, which is just like any other base coat, and some reducer. We'll zoom out a little bit here. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we'll put this cap on there, put the lock ring on. And then we're going to throw this cap on there to keep it all sealed, and that's going to stay good for a while, a long time actually. So yeah, so we'll cut away, and when we come back, we'll spray this red candy on that Metal Flake mini hood. Hey, real quick, I'm just going to show how I'm going to scuff this down to get ready for that candy. I just like to use these, you can get these red Scotch-Brite pads from Limeline. He also has the gray ones, which I think is not as aggressive, a little bit less aggressive than this. But this is kind of comparable to, I think, 600 grit. So I just use it on my DA sander. I got my Limeline DA sander here also. So let's put that on here. Makes nice and quick and easy work to stuff your parts down in between your clear coat. So let me just show you here. Turn my volume up a little. Okay, before we do our candy over this, I'm going to do some kind of pinstripes, if you will, that'll be left behind of just the Metal Flake. So I'm going to go ahead and use Limeline's fine line tape, 16th and 1/8 inch, and lay out some lines. So then when we do the candy red over top of that, when we're all done, we pull this tape up, and it'll leave just the Metal Flake underneath. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll probably just do a video, and it'll fast forward through the kind of the process, because it's going to take me a minute to kind of lay this out, just so this video isn't so long. So yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, well, there you go. There's the Metal Flake with red candy on top. As you can see in the video, it sparkles up pretty good when you got the light shining on it. So yeah, we just used Lime Lines Metal Flake in the packet that we mixed with 2K Clear Coat. Make sure you mix it with 2K Clear Coat. You can mix it with clear base coat, but that works a lot better with the flow out with 2K Clear. So in my opinion there. So all right, yeah. So if you have any questions or comments on what we did in this video, just go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back to you, and then I'll see you on the next one.